Hello, testing. Okay. Welcome everyone to Metahuman Inc., a text-based adventure, cause I like text-based adventures. And this one seemed really cool. You run a corporation to make events humans. So let's read this. Watson Q is alone in the Nostradamus room, waiting for you. He is sitting at a long meeting table that occupies much of the room. His swirly chair turns away from you so that he faces the plate glass windows that run the length of one wall, offering a view out across the city of Seattle. Of course it's in Seattle. Curious habit given that Watson Q was born completely blind. Kinda badass. Come in, he says as you stand in the doorway, take a seat. You do so. I confess I feel quite unprepared for this meeting, you say as he turns to face you, but then no one seems to know what it might be about. Watson Q is the chief financial officer of Metahuman Incorporation, a position of considerable importance. I'm gonna presume that he's not blind anymore. Because I presume looking at the numbers is important. You can imagine what you might have done to attract his attention, or for that matter, the fact his wrath. To all intents and purposes, MetaHuman Corp is a biotech firm. Once it continues, we use cutting-edge science to improve the human condition, and of course, we add essential biotech for our service. But you've been with us for a while. You know what goes on in this building. We play the dark sorcery and industrial technologies. We gleefully cross the line humanity was never meant to. Yes, our corporation is rather unusual. I still don't know why you want to speak to me. I want to talk to you about the theft of $2 million. You said the theft that you committed. Okay. You think I stole $2 million? Ludicrous. The obvious response. Mr. Q, I never betrayed this company like that. The sassy answer. Believe me, if I want to bet the $2 million, you'll never know about it. The cocky answer. I presume you have some sort of proof. Please talk away. Should I be a smart aleck? Just that's where the stats for this leadership, resolve, candor, compassion, ruthless gal, lie, image, moral, intimidation, research. Okay. Um, please talk away. One side then says, I want to make an indication of such humanity without collaborations. He slides the tablet across the table in your direction. Here you find some evidence we have against you. Unapproved, risk-weighted sources, company funds fallen into a hidden account that was ultimately traced by you, etc. He waits for his evidence. It displays certain email logs and so forth. So overall, it's just Watson said. The evidence is clear. You have stole $2 million, or that from a human, and yet your heart of hearts. What do you know the truth of the matter? The evidence is fabricated. I will never steal such a thing. Evidence is false. I would never arrest the corporate per se in case I'm innocent. I'm a criminal my times over, but theft has never been my choice. I'm innocent of this crime. I've stolen from a human. Yeah, I probably have, but not $2 million. I expend the considerable effort tracking your activities, and also I think entitled to answers. I'll ask you a couple questions and a pre-cheat from this. First, do you consider yourself a terrible person? Second, did you commit the crime? Overall, I am terrible. I have stolen from Metahuman, though far less than the sum. Answer both honestly. No, I am not terrible. I have stolen some small sums, but 2003, a truth and lie. Yes, I'm terrible. And yes, I'm stolen terminated, but you must know that it's taken far less than $2 million. But they're stolen from the company. Truth and a lie. No, I'm not terrible, but I'm not a thing. Two. Ms. Q, I am a good person and I am not a thief. No one answer. I'm charitable. Yeah, I am charitable, but I'm not gonna steal $2 million. My question about your nature is satisfactory to my own curiosity. I find you learn a lot about a person if you test their self-regard. As for your impression and mission of the crime, while I presumably apprehend such frankness, others would not see its virtue. They will use it to consume you. I presume means how like street smart stuff I am and how nice I am to people. A moment pause, and then you'll say, "Well, this seems damning. What next? Where we go from here?" There's only one matter I'd like to discuss with you. Remind me what career route brought you to many humans, what profession, your background. Academics, I've been rather mature. Finance, human resources, IT, legal, management, marketing, medicine, quality assurance, risk science, tourism. Everywhere I worked. Let's go risk assessment, no. Quality control, no. Let's go medicine. You have seen suspicion that wants to new cycle with professional training you follow, and you wonder as motive that question. I imagine the news has filtered down to your department concerning Metahuman's performance of late. I've heard some things, as much from the external as internal sources. They know we're in a bad situation, said Watson. Our existing products have been a series of legal dispute and public relations fiascos. All current products are almost frozen pending the resolution of a lawsuit that could drag on for years. Despite decades of success, we've essentially been reduced to a company starting out from zero. We were just barely allowed to continue trading on the New York Stock Exchange, but President Taki himself was keeping an eye on us. And then there's our CEO, Ira Cutter, who has literally disappeared amongst rumor of gross professional misconduct and assortment of criminal activities. Metahuman's best investigators can't find him, and they are very, very good at locating people. I've heard stories about Mr. Carter's experience, you say, but I'm unaware of the specifics. We're trying to keep this a secret, Watson tells you. Have you ever met her? No, personally, no. Not personally, no. Really? Now that's curious. He has been very interested in you for years. That's a guy? Oh well. The employment contract of the CEO of Metahuman Corporation contains a very specific clause that allows him to name his successor should he suddenly be incapable and unable to fulfill his professional obligations. For example, if he suddenly disappears. Mr. Karaka has chosen to exclude that clause and has named you his replacement. This is a setup. For the moment, you're sure you have misheard much. I'm sorry, I don't understand. Let me be as blunt as possible. You are taking the position of Chief Executive Officer of Metahuman Incorporated for a minimum period of 1 year, with salary privileges and obligations that the role affords. As for this matter of stealing $2 million to the company, we will forget about that as a gesture of goodwill. You may, of course, decline this position if you prefer. Should you choose to do so, however, we will aggressively pursue you for your recent criminal activities. So they're setting me up to be the boss then. Watson gives you a moment to absorb that, unless you might say, why me? Why did Mr. Karakta want me for this job? Sits forward in his chair, we don't know. Very much likely to. In truth, Vinegar could break this clause. It would be costly and tiresome, and no doubt details will leak into the press. We have to answer some uncomfortable questions, but it could be done. And yet, we still don't know why Kaga chose you for the job. How better to get the information than to indulge him? So you really have a simple choice. Take this job with an excellent pay and the publicity and opportunities for networking that will boost your employment potential 1,000%, no matter how things turn out, or go to prison and be forgotten. Watson rises across the room. One slender finger stays in contact with the edge of the meeting table. You note he moves with a remarkable self-assurance. I'll give you a lot to think about it, he says, passing you a slim dozen. Here's your contract. Read and complete the personal information, human resource stuff, and sign at the bottom. You can bring it to my office at the end of the quarter when you're ready. Alone, you look across the street from you, trying to take in the full impact of the brief meeting. Really, what choice could there be? Somewhat absurd. You look down the document as he left you, as well as a lengthy contract outlining your application as CEO. It includes a standard personal form. The first question is male, title, professor, preferred title. Yeah, let's go doctor. Let's go to one of the preset names. Cameron, Casey, Gabriel, Ian, Isha, Joe, Jordan, Kelsey, Martin, Michael, Morgan, Sheja, Sean, Steven, Tim, Xavier, Zaki? Let's go Xavier. Family name, Bayonet, DeGroot, McDonald, Xavier Song? That sounds cool. Xavier Walker? No, Song. You read through the pages of the employment contract. Should you accept, you will be responsible only to the company shareholders. You know that even though Metahumans is a publicly held company, a core of 6 main shareholders collectively hold a controlling sharehold of the company, and though the identities of these groups are not even publicly known, they will essentially be your bosses. The employment contract is run for a period of just 1 year, after which the main shareholders will value performance and ensure your future desirability in the position. Omnis Watson said, Human Corp is far from its casually exploited dark, forbidden powers and such willingness to do so as seep down from the company shareholders. If you're found undesirable, you wonder what form the shareholders' wrath will take. And yet, what choice do you really have if you use a job you have no demonstration will prosecute you for the gross step and the evidence is already solid? Pure solid, you will be convicted, years in prison, or a shot of glowing brilliance. You initial each page of the contract and sign your name at the end. You find Watson in his office at the end of the corridor. It's signed, you say, placing the contract before him. Let me be first to offer my congratulations. I hope our relationship will be long and prosperous. Now come with me. Your first duty is a public announcement to state your acceptance of this position. I won't forget that you threatened me once, and now let's go. Wait, now I'm pretty sure I want answers. What's really going on? Out of curiosity, who would have been next in line as CEO if I refuse? What's the rush? Couldn't make the video once I'm up to speed with the current events of the company. I'm curious who would have been next. Why? You wonder who might be jealous, angry, and appointments here? Something like that. Then you could erase easy. No placement has been firmly decided on. The shareholders would most likely have educated external search. They have poached on experienced candidates from one of our competitors, Python, or one of Smart. Now we really have to leave. Watson Page's assistant, Miss Nakamura, and the three of you descend to the building's lobby and pass through a great revolving door out to your waiting car. Nakamura, duh. There on the sidewalk, you take a moment to look up at the tower reaching up to the sky. It's 570 feet tall. Aside from the space needle, it's the tallest building in Seattle, including still levels. It contains 88 floors, and now it's yours. Dr. Song, I'm your new assistant. You glance up. Your official Cadillac is parked in front of you. One of the many perks of being CEO of Metahuman. We're gonna get rid of this. Besides the sent a man of 50 or so, his hand is in greeting. Robert Leach, pleased to meet you. Mr. Leach, here was Anura Kakatari, personal assistant, Watson said. Besides you, now he's yours. Pleasure to meet you. I'm going to depend on you to want to bring him a day in a lot of day business. You were close manager. How did you find him? Of course, PA. Call me Xavier. Yeah, let's go with this one. If I may, I prefer to say with Dr. Song, I find the degree of course far more conducive to professional and effective working relationship. As you wish, Mr. Leach. Okay, I like that. You, Watson, your assistant, climb to the back Cadillac. Watson presses his assistant his table. The press release, he says. Miss Nakamura brings several documents up on the screen and hands it to you. We take the liberty of preparing several contrasting press statements. Watson tells you each one is ready to go live on our company website. We only need you to decide what strategy you want to back and announce it to the press conference a few minutes from now. We will release the corresponding document as soon as you announce your choice. You glance through the prepared statements to varying causes or expansions of immigrations relying on untried and tested. The tone paints you as either encouraging inspiration or certain people making decisions at tough times. I'm completely unprepared for this detailed ones, and you can't possibly expect me to decide this company's strategy for the year coming in just a few minutes. It has to be now. This meeting event has been in the works for a while. Perhaps you're under the illusion that this conference is the result of CEO appointment. In fact, the reverse is true. The controlling shareholders have until now been undecided about your wish to appoint you as the head of the company. It is this growing media circus that has forced them to come to consensus, and they decided to back you. He leans forward. Dr. Song, this statement is just a public relations exercise, announcing whatever strategy you will think will make him look good. Consider the short-term and long-term impact of what you say. And remember, you're free to change your mind later behind the closed doors. What strategy would you announce in my place, Mr. Leach? If I need to be brief. I need to know about the current events of Metahumans. Who will be at this press conference? Who are the big names I need to watch out for? Yeah, I want to know this first, actually. A few middle managers from Metahumans and from our competitors, mostly journalists, said, "Want to remember, journalists are like jackals, show them weakness and they'll pounce. You want to keep them back, snarling at you." Once his French is deadpan, you're not sure whether he's being serious. That's hardly the pep I was hoping for. You're the boss now. You're the one who gives the prep talks. The Cadillac journey is far too quickly for your liking. You arrive at the Perch Hotel, where your press conference will take place. You peek through the rear door of the press conference. 40 or so people are seated there, figuring chatting to one another in low voices. Most of the journalists. You recognize a handful of other employees of Metahuman. They're waiting for you, Miss Dr. Song, said Watson. I hope you're up for a little improv. Miss Thompson, lead me to the podium, please. You and Watson led by the assistant, and pass through the aisles and center room. The assembly announcement falls silent. The only sound remains a soft click, click, click of digital cameras. I don't even know what I'm dressed in. I hope I'm like in a lab coat or something. Watson takes the right podium, pauses, then says, Metahuman Incorporated is a company in crisis, not a financial or ethics crisis, as some sources of media have incorrectly reported. Not even a crisis of heart, of the soul. A company, a corporation is at its core merely a group of people working together towards a common goal. A Metahuman contains the best, the brightest, the most motivated team of people I've ever been fortunate enough to work along. No, our crisis has been one of focus, of direction. For some weeks now, we have lacked a head. We lacked a leader with a vision to drive us to resounding success this coming year. This is no longer the case. There is as much speculation concerning who would take the role. That speculation may end now. Earlier today, I had the honor of being the first to ascend my credit to our new Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Xavier Song. I now give you the same honor. He nods once the crowd before him as they break in rather restrained applause. He takes front, leading the podium. You're up, he murmurs. You stand up to the podium in visions of Watson's inability to see the crowd before you. As the applause dies down, you clear your throat and begin the speech. Good afternoon, and I'll thank you all for coming here. I emphasize the company's strategy based on innovation and daring success. I stress a conscious strategy built on well-studied merit. I announce the next strategy is neither credible based on the utility of history. Me would actually go with this one. Emphasize moving forward with integrity and absolute transparency. Actually, you know what? Let's go daring. I like always risk. Like most of you in this room, I have, over the past week, given some thoughts to the identity of the new CEO. My own name was, I confess, quite far down that list. A few chuckles around the room, and yet I have been nominated for the position. Why? Because Metahuman is a company in need of change and innovation. What advantage do I have over others, more established companies who might have taken the vision? I have a fresh perspective, new ideas. The response to your announcement is fairly mute, but then again, its approach says fairly original. The trick has been convinced the groups that truly have the ability to back up your innovation. The trick will be to convince you that you truly have the ability to change. You pause for a line for it, and then once you know it, then you go on. You know, Albert Einstein was a lot smarter than I. He once said, imagination is more important than knowledge. You know what else is important? Having a multi-billion-dollar corporation to back up that imagination. In the past, CEO has not been honest with you. I'll be first. I mean that many of our trends are based on extraterrestrial technologies. So the shock value, the I have the money value, you lie. I'm lucky enough to be the company head that has remarkable foresight. New technologies are being developed and are already being pre-ordered. I'm confident we can maintain our leading position in the sector. Tell the truth, you know, I'm only the CEO because of the goodwill of my predecessor and the company shareholders. I'm not sure why they chose me, but I can live up to the trust they put in me. Let's see this one. If you are smart as anything, you prove that you're at least an entertaining public speaker. Still, most of the honors before you are president, and they seem very clear that you're still not giving them concrete opportunities. Once you put rescuing from the resounding silence, we'll open this forward with a few questions now. Several journalists raised their hand. You pick one out. A man in his early 30s with graying temples. Philip Mace of the Spring Investors. Your company is currently under legal injustice, burying you for using or selling any of your intelligence on the ground that its source may be legally dubious. This doesn't impact your customers, which spend a lot of time to pre on channels that you should have provided. Do you plan to reimburse them? Difficult question. The injunction of marriage is referring to a major concern of many right now. Any attempt to reverse the money spent on forcefully by an unconscionable like the bearing of the company in its current state. Under legal injunction, barring you from using or selling any of your intelligence on the ground of the source may be legally dubious. Tells you, yes, we do, but not yet, as that will leave us unstable, unintended, particularly later on. Yes, I'll put that in writing for you. You're like, yes, ultimately we do. This is not feasible yet, but later, when it's more stable, we will fully intend to discuss it. But should these customers continue to trade with us, we will give them preferable terms that reflect the loss lease. Absolutely. The injunction is not imposed on us. It's about as reassuring as journalists had hoped, and it's reasonably well received. You select another journalist with a raised hand. Azir Radguri, the money score. Oh god, she's gonna have a political question. Not economic questions. She said, but by way of introduction, staying with the subject of your company's current injunction, do you feel this ruling is fair? What steps are you taking to fight it? The injunction is likely a piece of devious legal maneuver by Metahuman competitors or its outright enemies. The ruling contends the Metahuman technology are either stolen or failed to conform to U.S. regulations, and Metahuman is hard pressed to defend itself without publicly revealing that it works from magic and extraterrestrials. This will make the government hate me, but it's funny as fuck. These scandals are scandalous. We fight them and we will disprove them. The injunction is part of an underhand legal attack on our company. It's a fine example of how the American legal system can be abused. Yes, it's only a frown, but it acts as a catalyst to force us to innovate. In the long term, it will make us stronger. It's a small spectra, and only that. We are developing to challenge a company as old and established. Many here won't fall for such concerned. You know what? I'm going with the fuck the American government. Your statement is true, yet it fails to stir the crowd before you. Its members already know that the current is far from perfect. You nod towards the third journalist. Okay, I should have picked the last one then for that one. Anton Clark, civic investigator. Someone from your TV show already asked a question. You said, not without humor. Don't get greedy. He smiled, then goes on. It concerns me that the Metahuman appoints a completely unknown as CEO at such a time. Are you simply using scapegoat someone to point the finger at when the company invented criminals? Are you positive that question been learning about since wants to offer you the job? Though if it does, feel free to call me up and say I told you so. I assure you I'm here because of the skills the guys coming through difficult periods. I'm gonna go with the cocky answer though. No, it's not true. The company is not a mischievous monster you suggest. Maybe. I'm here to answer your questions next. The answer doesn't come in a great fighting career. Perhaps they were hoping for someone more foreign to take the next top job. And you take the next question. Where I'm going, child, she says. She's a thin, with sandy colored hair and freckles. Where is her career? The woman is more casually dressed than most of the journalists. She's watched you patiently with a challenged look at her, tapping the base of her pen against her chin. You have to remember that name. Okay, so she's an important character. It's a fine question for him. Seen this for several weeks, so the junior never know where he is. His current investigation for very active corporation. Margaret fully supports the efforts of locating him. I don't know. He isn't here, which, as it turns out, is good. I don't know, but last I remember, the man is innocent until proven guilty, and I hope that he returns safe and sound. I don't know, but if he shows in the city after stealing my company, I'll crush him myself. No, let's go this one. It's a nice touch, though Curry is rich from embezzlement. Many humans still think of him as animal respectful. One final question, please. Now it's Watson. You nod your head to a bald man in a too-tight studio stance. Daniel Keel, True Believer magazine says, for some time I've been looking into your anti-evidence of that show technology man here, and even our angelic and demonic forces at work with your company. Would you care to discuss that? Managers and laugh for made to shrink, but Daniel looks up at your earnest way in response. It's been wiser, perhaps not to confirm the thing. Yeah, we need to do this one. We have an appointed unicorn as his HR, and I just greenlighted a project to drain Loch Ness. We're flushing Ness out of it, I'm sure of it. No comment. I won't bullshit there. Every possibility on the table right now. Every single one. I sent a person that's closest to the injury I like to get. That's ludicrous when you answer it. Sarcasm. Then this is Ember. If you other gents win such a harsh treatment of him, I'm afraid we have to draw things. Think your thing. A few more photos, and one leaves you and wants the question. Quickly, Jensen Moon, how did it go? What are they writing about? You put it down and trying to guess the overall mood of the thing. Okay, you overheard a snippet. Yeah, okay. I give no fucks. So you find the combination attraction that you attract a great deal of publicity of the wrong kind. Unfortunately, worse, the poor image you created will carry over to Metahuman as a whole. Fine, let's go back to the tower. Now the hard work really begins. Several days passed as you showed that you just keep up with the pressure of your job. As a bonus, you already suspended a certain Meta lends you a company-owned apartment in downtown Seattle near Metahuman Tower. It's gorgeous spaces, high-ceiling home with view overlooking Washington Park, yet you spent so little time there that you barely had a chance to even move your central positions from your former home much further out of the city. Nor have you really a chance to pause and stock of your objectives in your roles, but when you're back at training, you saw medicine as a way to help people, and back in the early days, when you thought of doctors, you thought of a one-to-one relationship patient three by Intermedical gives you a chance to apply that medical knowledge to help people in a mass to the company's development enchantments. Of course, many are the private enterprise like internet, and though its force is going as much a profit as by any remunerations. By now, as CEO, you have the power to influence that focus. You wonder whether it's time to reconsider those earlier that you first led you to join companies like Metahuman. One morning, Watson calls up to your office. We need to talk about our research development. Can you come down to see me? Metahuman's return is the central lifeline. Watson said several minutes later. Once you are seated in his plush office, an assistant gives you a hot beverage. Our core business is to develop Moment of process to enchant the human body and capacities, enchantments we call them. Now, as you mentioned, before, a criminal legal brouhaha swirling around my hair has resulted in a total shutdown of all existing research. We are forbidden from using any previous development to create new enchantments. We have to start from zero. We have a couple small non-core products prepared from our line that are not bound to introductions and allow us to meet our operation overhead, but just barely. Right now, Metahuman is bleeding, and so is falls on me to rebuild our line of chance for nothing, you say? First, I want you to think about recruiting a new head. I'm taking the liberty of speaking with Mr. Lee to clear agenda for this afternoon and setting interviews with the top 3 people I prepare for you. The first candidate is our current head of research, Connor Barron. There's no reason not to keep her if you choose. She's 21 years old. She's already worked with us 3 years. She's a bona fide child prodigy, and you aren't likely to find another candidate as technology proficient as she is. If you prefer to focus on research development on ultra high technologies, you can do worse than Miss Boren to keep. No, we're gonna try to go medical. I keep that in mind. Second is simply called Nemesis, or rather Professor Nemesis. He's a sorcerer of remarkable skill. Had some history in the independent development magical enchantments, though for more personal advantage than commercial sport. He's pause. Some call him the Brainiator, and he has been investigated by police for insensitivity of consider. Still, he has not been convicted of any crimes. You aren't entirely surprised that Metahuman will consider Nemesis for such a problematic position, even given his shitty history. The company owned morals are rather frequently rather gray. The third candidate is more of an enigma. Said Watson. His name is John Tarr, and by all accounts, he's quite versatile. He worked in a variety of company organizing as something of a journeyman in both science and magic. We don't have a great deal of information about his earlier background, though. We can't even say what nationality he comes from, or is he, well, human. He isn't human. I'm told he looks very pleasing to look at. You understand more when you see him. Anyways, as now you can access the front, including preliminary interviews, details from your office. As you say, you may currently access the information from the stats screen. Show stats. Few notes. Okay, let's see what we got about her. Single. He graduated from with several others, personally creating and reading software. Estimated IQ of 250. Lectured. Several team members have previously convicted of assassins in her poor people skills. No. No formal education. Later management position organizing permanently, but also works in alternate series. When his brother Holy Stressindle, he is not confirmed. He has come as a light-hearted, extremely intelligent, and curious about almost about everything. In one spirit, he departed on an 8-minute discussion concerning the inheritance of the pinners. He is strictly disciplined when necessary, even maintaining character lightness. He is more of a journalist and specialist. His skill learned in terms of methodology rather than sorcery. And now Nemesis. From age 77, Nemesis from as a brainy report shows that he was my eating, engaging in murder. Simply put it, he has been pointed out to be that merely hearsay, and Nemesis has never been proven guilty, regardless of creating record to most likely carry the tetris of disiluding him from killing or helping him conceal such crimes for authorities. Still, the potential benefits. Oh, he's the great risk. I like great risks. Return to the game. Why is there none for Nemesis? Watson has asked her to come to me at the same time. Perhaps that's part of the psychology plan. This way he allows her to meet one another. He has forced Leech enters your understanding that the candidate is Professor Nemesis. Go to the waiting room so you can speak to the candidate yourself. You follow Leech to the waiting room, curious to how the actors relate to each other. You motion for Leech to stop, and you listen for a few moments just outside the door. John Tarr is leading conversation, quizzing Carter about various aspects of her work so far in Metahuman. His tone is friendly and interested rather than aggressive. Answered accurately and securely, only expanding information when just ask her to. Satisfy you walk into the room. John turns to Jaiman, though thin. His skin is gray, unhealthy looking, covered by small light and curly hair. Thank you both for coming. Let's ask him to come in first. John raises his head, touching ceiling. Good luck, he says, casually in his deep promenade. Then he follows you to his office. You chose none. I've seen a proverb that works in city. Do you know how to put? Do you have how to put it? This a lot of experience with extraterrestrial. He smiles. You are fishing for a confirmation of rumors that I am truly not of earthly origins. I am of this world, I assure you. And yet, well, use your eyes. Do you see a human being like you? Are you saying you're not human, or perhaps not a holy human? Astros and astral beings walk this world as freely as you and I, he says. You're merely witnessing such beings during your time as an human. Would you cast me among them? Do so if you wish. Sadly, I haven't granted the inheritance from speaking in my early years. I am able to confirm or deny your suspicions. You must realize that this is difficult for me to place someone whom I know to learn in the pre John doesn't answer that. You tend to remain at companies for short term info after this post. How long you plan to stay? You're quite generalist. Do you prefer to work with children? Your friends diverse. Do you have any professional regrets? You know, I'm not short of expert commanders. Apart from your knowledge, your experience, what's it your roofing peers? I don't want to allow this interview to go long. I'll start considering my closing questions. Of course, as everyone does, John asks, I don't regret any jobs I've taken, and of themselves, I consider each position before accepting. I have made or any truly poor choice. When a projector job has been challenges, I hope. I regret that it might have closed other possibilities, avenues. I wish I had time to spend myself across career that takes matters, but I don't. How long you plan to stay? Very few people can see the future, he said, so difficult a question. If I may respond with a couple questions of my own. How long can Metahuman maintain my interest? How long can you offer the research and information that I won't find at any other company or field? The truth is that if I grow bored, I may move on. Yet, knowing Metahuman, sure you do you believe that I will grow quickly short? I enjoy working in both fields. I'm quite proficient with both. It's true I'm not a specialist, but I don't have the raw technical challenge that occurs. For example, though I consider more experienced overall than she is, he smiles. You can almost believe he's believing his comparator. John tries starting to look fidgety. You can decide to ask one last question. With the Airman engineering, I don't know if you take this. Are you for real? I mean, I feel like I'm speaking to a character actor. No, let's ask him that one. He thinks we're seeing the greatest things I've seen in life is closing of doors, the shedding of life and liberty. In this sense, killing a person is the greatest crime of all. It is the eradication of not just life, but the lives of all this person might have lived. And yet, would you kill Martin preventing him from killing 20? I would. As I said, I consider murder the greatest thing, but it can't be justified sometimes. If this company moral stance repeatedly convinces me of my own civilities such as they are, perhaps I will wander away at a short time and go someplace else. He also discussed some practical matters with the job leader and prior and salary. Thanking him for his time, you accompany back to the waiting room. You tell Jontron he's informed your decision very soon. You turn your attention to the waiting room. Professor Nemesis, he's a dark-haired, dark-eyed, short, barely taller than Baron. The two of them are sitting adjacent opposite. In the first ladies, you decide to see Kara next. Miss Baron, can you come to my office, Professor? I'll be with you shortly. Now I wish I started with her so I can have seen a reaction between these two. You follow to the room and takes up so you can say your first question. Can you word that the interview with you to keep Josh here has been, I believe, for him? Remember that your review, as well as the other candidates, into your stat screen. Let's ask her this. I enjoy my work here very much, he answered. The research development facilities here are equal of any other on the planet, certainly that of any other private organization. My position has granted me an excellent opportunity to expand and explore the limits of my capacity, and I'm very appreciative of that. As a public listed company, Metahuman isn't quite the private organization described, but you skim over the fact. And you don't find working in the corporate environment restricting, he smiles. I like to maintain a vision of scientific research as pure, existing as knowledge for its own sake. But the truth, it does not exist in a vacuum. It depends on money, and it can only be considered as one component in the generation of money. But that is true of any great creative endeavor. The Michelangelos, the Mozarts of the world have always had to consider their sponsors' need over their own inner muse. But that's why Van Gogh was such a master, because he was a failure in his own lifetime. It sounds like you found business would be distasteful, you say, he said, perhaps a little. Your technology require, yet do you believe you have the management experience to run the whole research department? How would you feel about my position of more magical beings to the research department? Yeah, let's see what she does when I ask her to go the other side. She begins coming and says, well, that's possibly would be open to you, and I have worked with beings that fell within the realms of mystery several times during my training. So certainly could work side by side with mission. So my personal feeling is my abilities would be somewhat squandered if you choose to direct Metahuman in that direction. If your project for this company is to develop more magical enchantments, I suppose I'm not the best candidate for the position. After all, commits herself with the apparent response. Then she falls silently waiting for your next question. Can you elaborate on that? There isn't much to tell you, because said Metahumans are no company with many enemies, competitors, as well as agencies both inside and outside the United States that have been interested in seeing that we do here stops forevermore. The company's recent difficulties by publicity linked to more misuse of company development than any technical flaws, as well as any misconduct or disappearance of our boss, has allowed enemies to step up from the shadows and post legal injunction on metahuman work. Sorry. She shrugged. The problem you can speak of is legal and political, not technical. What is the biggest problem? Challenges, I really haven't any. She said everything has come very easy to me, I suppose. Well, if you count my education as part of my career, I guess that's being set apart from my competitors has always been a challenge. What I mean, Senator, is I am more intelligent than my competitors and for the vast majority of the population in general. I mean intelligence from a peer academic IQ test type profession. I know that in terms of general common sense, I am no smarter than the next person, but yes, in some times be a challenge to relate others on a social level. She thinks for me it was tough to leave home and go study when I was young. That was a challenge. And have you managed to overcome that challenge? I'm getting there. I have a few friends here in Seattle now. Work prevents me from seeing them very often. But yeah, I'm getting there. The pace of the year is beginning to flag. You decide to finish with a tough question. Focus on turns have been encountered with problems. I intend to focus on my camera last night. Do you have any return change? You decided to test her under stress. Your work here has landed you under the company in a legal trade. I hardly have to say, for eternally you strike me as a girl who just plays as business among grown-ups. Just playing at business among the grown-ups. Your remark visually shocks her, but after most she composed and gives you a cold glare. Think what you will, Dr. Stone. The fact is that the appointment of an unknown like you at the position comes in as unexplained and yet unjustified surprise to us all. And while you're totally away in the nearest careers in the bowels of this company, I very swiftly rose to Burns, using nothing more than my own talent. Call me a little girl if you will. Compare your own career to mine, and it seems like you're moving in slow motion. You stare a few minutes, unsure on how to take this outburst. You hold the gun and says, "I believe the universe concludes." You walk her back to the room. Show stats. Image. Super science. You assume her that Regis' department will be in touch with her shortly at letting you know. As she departs, you turn to Brent Nemesis. The man is reading more magazine about motorcycles. He closes it and places it on the table. Let's go, if you would. Excellent. That's such a fine selection you have, Max, by the way. Nemesis steps to you. Thank you for coming to Professor. Before we start, I was curious about... Let me preempt your questions. You're concerned that I might be a risk to your company. You have no doubt heard the brainier secret that has been attributed to me, and your research has recounted you the list of crimes I'm accused of and acquired in the past, and so you're probably wondering how long it'll be before the media accuses me of yet another heresy, and whether the potential benefits I might bring to this company significantly outweighs the potential bad publicity. I might not have been so quite on the nose with my question, but yes, largely right. Then I'll answer that question. Yes, I am worth the risk. I am the sorcerer of supreme power, certainly as powerful as a man can be and retain sanity. Furthermore, I specialize in prairie, often human form, as does Metahuman. We are a fine match, you and I, far more than any other candidate you'll see. He stops there. You're entirely sure how to answer such a beneficial claim. You simply say, I see. Oh no, then that's wait. Do you have any other questions for me? Yes, why did you become a psychologist? Yes, I taught psychology for many years in Britain. I find it an interesting field, though it would never be my greatest passion. I suppose my study in psychology was meant to, and as a young man, I'm drawn to academic life, the atmosphere of study, parties, and the self-indulgence of students' liberty from parents' watchful gaze. Of course, those few intuitions that encourage the formal study of magic are hidden away from the sight of the public at large. They are hardly the gay and joyous avenues I have set my heart on, so I studied psychology, a real subject in addition to sorcery. It allowed me to live and learn among the unlined flock. He grinned. I'm really a people person, you know. You weren't attracted to the career in medicine? You asked? No, a sorcerer for enforcement, my second businessman, because it grants me the capital to develop my future thing. Let's ask him this one. No scratch his chin, thinking, I enchanted my own physical frame, yes, and on occasion the bodies of others. My work has mostly been very individual, bespoke in nature. I've never mass-produced enchantments, as I would here at Metahuman. Can you give me a specific example of your work to date? I wish I could give you a demonstration. My abilities are not exactly the showy kind. I channel magic items more efficiently than a non-augmented human form would. Your profession mentioned that you're strong, faster than most. A smile. I'm a hunter when the mood takes me, and yes, I have changed my body to facilitate that. He doesn't seem inclined to elaborate further, and you aren't sure you want. Let's ask him why was he late. I was unavoidably detained elsewhere, answered Nemesis with no trace apology. These things happen. Why did you change your name? Mr. Thornton no longer exists. Okay, so he wants to be a new person. I can deal with this. He was a man who once made a deal with a being from another plane, a being in immense power. Certain favors were granted in exchange for the soul, the very mind and essence of Mark Thorne. In order to satisfy the obligation, Marsden has ceased to be, and replaced with someone else. Such things can be done. It was not merely a history. All the interviews, lives that Mark infers, everything was erased. If you trace down Mark Thorne parent, they have no recollection of a child of that name. Sounds like an incredible sacrifice. It's just the way it is. Yet there are still records of Mr. Storm. He has birth certificate and social security number. These extraplanar beings, called demons if you prefer, have little use for human bureaucracy. Consequently, it's often negated in these cyber records exist, yes, but trying to find someone who ever actually met him at the time, you won't. Where did the name come from? He smiled. No, I don't. Occasionally I consume other life energies, and these were willing given as any form of consciousness might, but in a brain, let's say that's a metaphor, a label assigned by those who have no actual knowledge of astrology, or both. Thank you. Then I have a question for you, said Nemesis. First, let me make clear the reason for my interest in this company. I'm not here for the money, for the salary that you're offering, though I'm sure it's generous. I have already attained material resources I might require. I confess the opportunity to work at an ancestral source facility here does indulge me somewhat, but the real reason I want to work with you is that I have been independent too long. I've always been wholly responsible for my choices, my own destiny, but now I feel the constraints of maintaining such independence, such absolute authority more and more. I am beset by chores that I have little time or inclination for. For the first time in my life, I desire to work within an established structure, even though this means bound to an authority of another. This is very important in my own development now, and the name Metahuman Corpse is spoken with awe across every plane of existence. If I am to work with the breast of the company, it must be yours. No less comparative will suffice. You mentioned question. I did. The relationship must flow in two directions. Employ me, and I will support your company with vision and considerable skill, but you will have to provide me with the same support. I have made enemies and will likely continue to do so. Perhaps the police will one day plague me with more accusations of murder. Perhaps a more powerful other being decides to hunt me for vengeance or simple sport. My question is simple. When the day comes when many humans shield me from my enemies, can I depend on you to protect me? With monsters help you against we help against it, but not no. I assure you that we will conclude you will give you all the help you need. All the other ones saying we're not going to do it and stuff. Who cares? Excellent. I see that this is the start of a long, mature, lucrative relationship. He stands, offers you your hand, shake it, and thank him for the time. Then he leaves. Finally, once the afternoon and the 3 grams have been seen, the time has come to make a choice. Current Bar is a technological genius, though she's someone experienced in the corporate field in general. Still, should you wish especially in high technology of super science, she can be a good choice. Nemesis is an expert and will enable you to come to spend more witchery, though recruiting would entail some acceptance of his unethical activities. Perhaps he'll bring unwelcome attention to Metahuman. But we don't already have good relationships, do we? Yeah, that would give us more intimidation. It would ruin our image, though, but I don't care. We already have a bad image. John tries to storm between and can convincingly force your company on screen, though not especially as the OT spread, Jontron is largely an unknown element, which in itself applies to degree. Remember that your thing it takes. Wait, can I actually like look at the actual interviews? Let's see here. No, just other stuff. I'm gonna recruit Nemesis. God damn, it's raining around my house really hard right now. You heard Nemesis please and is keen to start working at once. As you're prepared to leave your apartment, turn to your apartment, then you tired and buried. There's a knock on the door. It's Robert Leach. Do you have a moment? Of course. He sits. Your predecessor, I concur with. Always value my willingness to present an alternate position to the scene. I like to think I have the same relationship with you. Yeah, I figured this much. I'm willing to listen to anything that concerns you. Thank you. A concern for the woman is secured. She knows Metahuman and Prosper, and now that she's been fired, she's likely going to snap up by a rival. Perhaps certain they can afford to give us what she is used to, or what do you suggest? I don't suggest anything, he said with a mere smile. He had a long day as well. I'm merely pointing out. I believe you are required what opportunity here. This might surprise you. It's well within this country's power to detain Mr. here as a guest, comfortable guest of indefinite duration, or perhaps a more permanent solution we found for this furniture. It will be greater personally. I am rather fond of Miss Byrne, but it's a possibility. Watch her, make sure that she respectfully confines the conclusions of her search packet. So long as she does, we'll take no action. I'm sorry, this woman, from what I can tell, acts like a little child. Permanent. As you wish, he sends. I'll make the necessary arrangements. Good evening. He leaves you alone in your office. Lynch means I rely your wishes regarding return to our field ops teams. The job is done. You nod, biting into your mortar croissant. Pensive. Did that change anything? Yeah, it rose ruthless a little bit more. The months continue to race past. Your work ability gives you little precious time to contract friends, family, increasing. The people seem to belong to a former life. The life you live, being assured the responsibility as the head of Metahuman, you begin to welcome lunch, meeting, dinner appointment away from your office. At least that's the way it almost seems as you Monaco of social life. On such occurrence of the emergence, when Ahmed arrived in Seattle, he is the potential buyer for a major medical potential supply in Asia, as well as a buyer and contract of several government agencies in St. a non-core product. Metahumans program range is now restricted by the legal injunction currently blocking in the sale of the company's existing enchantments. You essentially depend on the sale of the small non-core right now to keep the company alive. Monaco has asked to meet with you during his trip to the United States. Though he's been somewhat sketchy about the process there he wishes to discuss, he has the influence to place a large order with many giving the company a very welcome revenue boost. Legion forms the current is the king offer. A shame that January incur precludes his support. Instead, you meet him at a top-end restaurant, The Coupler. He is an admirable Saudi Arabian with multicolored perception of very business political world events. He'd attribute this late feature to his Australian wife. I tend to see things through the lens of my Middle Eastern upbringing, he said with a smile. She's the one that reminds me the world is immense and filled with viewpoints quite different from my own. The two of you spend an hour, but then the subject turns to work and he looks at you between you and me away from the eye of the journal. Do you truly feel you're the key person? I lie. Inward, I believe I can do the job, but I say, well, I haven't really decided yet. No, I'm gonna answer honestly. I really don't know if I'm the right draft for this guy. Or not, then press on. And will you defy the plans and wishes of many humans, rather sinister founder and former leaders? If becoming this year, will you come to turn away from his dark design? This time I lie. I hope many agreement becomes trying being among corporations. It depends on a lie. Many humans always been skillful lead. I tend to follow my prisoners. Given the lack of experience in such a prominent role, I prefer to listen and learn for a time before I make such defiant decisions. I say, we'll see. Yeah. Says one. I met Adrian just a couple weeks before he disappears. Oh? He waves away your current look. We talked only about work. He gives no indication he's vanished the way he has. Specifically, we talked about the Prima 5. Prima 5 is the malaria vaccine developed by Metahuman that's currently undergoing human trials. It looks like it may launch for sales in the future. It has been with the greatest reduced the number of Americans in the poorer regions of Asia. It renders a subject immune to malaria with one injection, though variants exist that require large booster shots to maintain the immunity. Mr. spoke very pushy about so much that I was willing to place the central order right now. On behalf of the agency I represent, one efficiency familiar is in charge of facility. Of course, you can only make far more money if you fly a less efficient one that would require regular purchase of booster. Perhaps I forget all about the Prime 5 and tell agencies I represent some less efficient purse. Of course, I would expect a small percentage of all things. Set up the deal. Asking you to help him deceive his parents. If you conceal this the first time, you're guaranteed to refrain less against of course you can split the numerous health agencies and force down the soldiers into regular generation rather than one quick shot. You split the current and he was in favor of firing the less firm one. No, let's just sell the drug and normally not cheaper version so we can build some trust. He shrugs, of course. The mind of the dinner passes pleasantly enough. You bid Mahadi good night and climb to the back of your Cadillac. You hope you have made the right choice in the evening and you're keenly aware of the Metahuman presence in your British neighborhood watching you, judging you from afar. Next chapter. That was only January. Oh god. Oh god. This is gonna suck. But I'm gonna stop there. We finished.